Today, #Innovative India movement in association with Safeguarding Children Seva Samiti Uttar Pradesh, Kaushaki Foundation Uttar Pradesh, India, International Human Rights Commission, All India Council for Human Rights, Liberties and Social Justice, National Council for News and Broadcasting, and Voices on the Mount, Africa, Ghana. We welcome our guest speaker from Europe, Honorable Judge Srdan Simac. He is an PhD, Honorable Judge of High Commercial Court of Republic Croatia, President of Croatian Mediation Association. He will be talking today on topic Mediation Builds Humanistic Dispute Resolution World. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much. Hi.
Hello, sir. So, what is mediation in dispute resolution? Please tell our audience today about something about that.
Okay. Dispute resolution can include a lot of different methods. It is very usual to say in the world, alternative dispute resolution. So when you say alternative, it does mean that there is some alternative to the courts, to the litigation. So I would like to say that the mediation is the first or some kind of synonym of alternative dispute resolution, in spite of the fact that mediation should be or can be the primary way of solving disputes. So in essence, when we are talking about the ways of solving disputes, there are at least 4 of them. There are much more, of course. One is negotiation. The second one is mediation, then litigation and arbitration. 3 of them, these 4 are the most famous. And the mediation, I like to say that mediation is not alternative to the courts, but to the failed negotiation. So mediation is actually advanced form of negotiations with the presence of third neutral party mediator with the trust of both parties, So the difference between mediation and negotiation is there is someone else in the middle, Mediare, Latin word means in the middle. So as you know, and our listeners know, it's very hard to be in own conflict. It's so easy to make a firework in personal relation. But when somebody else is in between, in the middle of 2 people in conflicts, there is something quite different. And in mediation, mediator cannot decide about the case, about the dispute. Mediator just is helping parties to find their own solution. So, many professionals, including my profession, lawyers, they fail in some trap. What does it mean? It means professional trap. What does it mean? It means when people are in conflict, when they have broken relation. My representatives of my profession, law profession, they think they need to suggest them solution very quickly. But it is very hard, that I suggest my solution for your problem.
Right.
I can be some kind of authority, professional, knowledgeable about the law, and you can obey or accept what I suggested to you. But because it is not your it is not your solution, you will be not happy with it. And mediator is the person who offer help to the parties. They find their own solution by their rules and by their measure. It's own personal justice.
Sir, as you have told that there are some steps like negotiation, arbitration. So can you just briefly explain what arbitration is and it is different from how it is different from mediation?
Okay, so definitely you know about courts and about litigation. So it means state courts where judges decide about the case instead of the parties, and they are deciding by the law.
Okay.
And disputants have no big role in it. The biggest role have lawyers, and judges. And you have no any control over decision made by the judge. The arbitration is something pretty similar, but arbitration is a private court, private, not the state court.
Okay.
Usually arbitrators decide in council of 3 people. One party choose one arbitrator, another party choose second one, and 2 arbitrators choose the president of the arbitration council. And when you choose
Okay.
arbitrators, from that point on, you have no control over them, because they will decide about you by the law, the same as state court. Only what is different is
Okay.
you can choose those arbitrators. Judges you cannot choose. They are usually experts for the field from dispute is coming from. And
Okay.
everything in arbitration procedure is a kind of more pleasant than in state court.
Okay. Wow. So what are the advantages of mediation if a person is in mediation process, or are there any training programs which have been provided for the mediators, for the person who is in the conflict resolution management things are going on? So
Yes,
please guide us on that, right?
yes, of course. So there is a great training about mediation. There is a basic mediation training for mediators, and there are much more. Whole mediation is based on human skills, soft, non-legal human skills. And
Okay.
we usually believe that we as humans, we don't need any more skills as human beings, but we need. And there
Exactly.
is a lot of disciplines around us, from psychology, neurology, sociology, and many others, who create a sum of great knowledge and experience and practice you can use in any conflict, from how to communicate, how to deal with the conflict, how to negotiate, how to mediate. We call mediation an art of being human, or justice with the human face, or the best day for any dispute in a life of
Right.
any dispute. Why? When you are going to the court or to the arbitration, you can expose yourself, your life, your business to the somebody else decision.
Exactly.
Those people are usually strangers for you, and your involvement in the arbitration and the court procedure is pretty tough, hard for you. You cannot follow the procedure, you cannot understand the law, you cannot understand the language. But the idea of mediation is to put the parties, disputants, people who are in a conflict, in the center of the world. In mediation, disputants
Right.
are the most important person at the moment. Why?
Exactly.
So it is a way of bringing a responsibility for the resolution of the dispute to those who created it, you know. So if you and me are in conflict, so only you and me are the only owners of our conflict. Only we know,
very true.
only we know what is happened. Only we know what is the best solution for us. Only two of us are decision makers for what we need, what we want. And both of us are, each of us are only and the best expert for our life, for our business. And mediation and mediators tell to the disputants, this is your life, this is your business, this is your destiny. You know the best.
Right.
But probably you need a little help, because in a conflict, people are not rational, they are very emotional. They assume very badly about each other. They hate each other.
Right.
They became enemies. They do not talk to each other. They tried a lot of things to find the peaceful solution, but they didn't. They didn't know how to do it. And actually, they didn't try to find it. They just competed to each other who is right and who is not, you know. And that's the source of the conflict. Our feeling, I'm right. We humans so love that feeling. Yes, I'm right. So, but you know, in the real life, the sense of I'm right is usually totally useless in any relation. So, would you be rather right or happy? Would you be rather right or in a relation, business relation, personal relation? Would you rather be, I don't know, right or in peace, you know, or in the war? So all of us people are subjective, you know. We have own lenses or own glasses, and we see and perceive the world through them. And we have own,
very right, you said.
We have own experience, and everything we see, we transform and I can't remember right now our English word.
Frame the things accordingly, right?
According how we are, not how the reality is. And everything what we see, we think it's true, you know. Usually we think it is objective, but you know, there is no objective person in the world. If we have a God could be objective, but not we humans, because we are focused, narrowed on own narrow one-sided interest, and we are doing everything in our interest, even when we are not aware about it. So it's very hard for us when we are faced with someone who says, Judge Simac, you are not right. What you are talking about is not correct. It is not logical. It is not right. So whenever we are faced with such a thing, our brain cannot process that is just a different opinion, but our brain processes it is attack on us, you know, attack on what we see, what we believe, and on our truth of the world, you know. And then when you say that you don't agree with me, I'm trying to defend myself. And if you are consistent and want to go further, I try to attack you, and then there is a conflict escalation, and people very soon lose trust, break communication, demonize each other, and make alliances on each side. And finally, when it is important for them, they go to the court, you know. And the court is very unpleasant environment for the people, you know. Someone else decide about you. You don't know him or her. You don't understand them. They only them ask you something about your life, what is important for them, not for you.
No.
They are asking from you just only what is legally relevant, but you as a person who is not a lawyer, you don't have even clue what is legal relevant. You know that you have a life problem. And now, and finally they decide about you without real participation in this decision. But today we have a mediation, and we have a different kind of litigation. First, mediation. So in mediation, when I told you earlier, you are the most important person. So I am not a judge in a mediation. I am there to help parties find their own solution. So I'm there to provide them with a safe environment in which they will feel secure, safe, and pleasant, even they are at the same table with the person to whom they are in a conflict. They didn't talk for 3 years. But now I am in the middle. I got authority from all or both of them because they believe me. I call it natural authority. As a judge, I have a formal authority, you know, by the law, and people respect me not because they like me, but they respect me because they fear of me, because I'm the one who is going to decide about them.
True.
And because of that, nobody telling me truth, you know, truth. But but in mediation, you are coming in front of the person who has special knowledge, special skills about communication, negotiation, conflict management, who is good with the people, and who is not deciding about you, you know. This is your case, this is your life. I'm here to help you find the best solution for you and you. And you can expect that you will disagree again, that you will hear something you disagree, but please just be calm and let each other to talk without interrupting, and try to listen and get as much information you don't know from the other side, you know. And in court, people hide information because they know if they relieve something what is not in favor of them in the court, they will lose the case. But in mediation, because I'm not a person who is going to decide about them, they are free to talk about everything what is important for them, not for me. I encourage them to talk. I encourage the other side and myself to listen, to be focused, and to acknowledge and to respect and to give empathy for their big life or business problem. And in such an environment, they start to change their behavior toward to each other. They transform their relations about each other. Yesterday, they were enemies, but today, in mediation, we are helping them to become partners in solving own problems. If you are friends or marriage couple or family member or business partner or owner, you cannot solve the problem without each other. And there is no and we judges in the courts, we are not
Right.
gods who will find the best ever solution for you, because we are just
True.
ruling by the law, and the law and justice is very different things, you know. But in mediation, we invite them to find their own justice, to find common ground, common truths. They are coming with the two different stories, you know, two different perceptions. Right. And because they didn't talk last 3 years, they made a huge number of negative assumptions to each other. But in mediation, what is related with your topic, what you do, we remind them that they are just equal human beings, persons, irreplaceable, worthy, and different and unique, and that they are not enemies. And from some point, when they feel welcomed, respected, heard, understood, they become much more calm, much more open to each other, and to talk, and to realize what were the reasons they behaved badly in the past, and what they can do now. Forget the past. We cannot improve the past.
Change it.
But what we can do as two persons, two humans, we can find the solution right now for our future and find the peace.
Right.
So in mediation, we transform confrontation, you know, and the fight, conflict, right, from negative to positive force, you know, and we transform them to partners in solving own solution. So I used to say to them very often, please, from now on, I'm begging you, do not attack to each other anymore, because you realize that it is not useful. It is counterproductive. Your problem is bigger and bigger and bigger. But from now on, I'm begging you that both of you attack together your problem, you know. So not anymore attack to each other.
No, but no blaming games and all, right?
Exactly.
No blame games.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's the pure humanity in action. That's amazing how it is possible to see how we are, humans are social beings, and how we are connected, and how we can wire to each other, and how if you are kind to me, I behave reciprocity, and I'm kind with you. But if you attack me, if you blame me, if you accuse me, if you use bad words like in court, because you want to beat me, to defeat me, to make a victory, I will fight back, you know. So in mediation, there is no danger, there is no threat. There is just people with the problem who is very big for them, who are struggling, and who didn't find, who couldn't find the right solution for them without the help. And mediators and mediation can help a lot.
Right, sir. Rightly said, sir. It is an art, and we require it to stop all the blame games, all the disputes, and to have a positive energy. Sir, one more question here I want to ask you. What is the humanistic approach to mediation? Like you have already told us a lot of the things, but are there any steps which have to be followed to keep this mediation more towards keeping it a positive energy, positive aura? Are there some steps which are being followed by the mediator in the process, or it is like active listening? First, we have to listen and then solve the problems, or not solve the problems, but give a solution, a valid solution to both the parties.
Of course. So whole mediation is pretty serious job, and you need to learn whole life to become really skillful, and skillful in the people skills. You know, what does it mean to be humanistic, humane?
Right.
It means that from the moment you have nominated as a mediator from the parties, you know, it is a huge privilege that people nominate you or choose you. Please, Mr. Simac, we believe you, we know that you can help us, and we are open to share with you everything what will be needed to find the solution.
Right.
And huge privilege, huge feeling, and huge responsibility. So we mediators, you know, there are good mediators, there are bad mediators, like in any professions, but true mediator is very dedicated to the parties. Mediator never quit until parties say no more. So from the very first moment when they nominate me, I call them first by phone, you know. I can call a party, I can call the lawyer. I say, hello, how are you doing? I'm your mediator. Thank you very much for the appointment of myself, for your trust. I would like to talk a little bit with you on phone, and to tell me a little bit about the case and who is going to come. I would like that both of you come, the party and the lawyer, because we need both of you, you know. There is no good mediations without the parties, you know. But in courts, you will find very often just lawyers. And like my friend, the lawyer, said, if you send the lawyer to the court or to the negotiation or to the mediation to negotiate without yourself, it is the same when you send him or her for a lunch to make a lunch instead of you, you know. So it's not possible.
Right.
But they both can do very good things. So there are a lot of approaches, you know, so I'm not acting as someone who is above them, you know. I'm a peer. I'm the person equal to them. I'm there just to be helpful. And I usually have preparation meetings, you know, before the start of mediation on the common meeting, joint meeting. I used to call both parties to talk separately, you know. They tell me about their problem, their dispute, their experience. I introduce to them mediation, what to do, how to prepare, what to expect, how to behave, and we create a relation, we create a trust. And when they trust me, they trust in mediation too, you know. And when they are prepared, and when we build a relation and trust, mediation is going smoothly, you know, easy. And when they come together, now they are prepared to be faced eyes to eyes to their former enemies, you know. And I tell them, this is not your enemy. You are just the two human beings caught or imprisoned in conflict, and it is so normal, it is so natural for us, and it is so normal that you couldn't find a solution. But now, please take chances, take responsibility. This is your life, this is your dispute, and now we are going together attack your problem and find a solution. There is no if we find a solution. We are going to find the solution which is the best for you. So all the time we show great respect, dignity, listen, care. We are bringing a peace with us, you know. People, when they are in conflict, they are anxious, they are frustrated, they are angry. And if they find me, who is anxious and don't know what to do, they will lose any kind of ability to join it. But they feel calm with me. If I motivate them, if I giving them a hope, introducing a peace, if I'm optimist, if I nudge them all the time, if I help them create or options, if I stop them when they lose control over their words or emotions, I can say at the beginning we have some rules. So we will not use bad words, we will not yell on each other, we will not offend each other. And there is one rule in my mediation. Only one person can be angry at one time, you know.
That's a good thing to learn. Even I will learn that.
So it's not possible to have two, because otherwise we cannot go further. But when it happens, you know, I tell them in advance, don't be worried. You are in a conflict. You are humans. It is easy to become angry. Now we are going to make a pause, you know. We are going to stop 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. And then when we may calm our mind again, we will continue with this. And no matter does mediation is finished by the settlement or not, I never quit with them, you know. When they make a settlement, I call them tomorrow and ask them, how do you feel today? Are you still happy? What was your good experience? What was not? What we can improve? Or when they do not settle, no. We used to say in mediation, there is no unsuccessful mediation. There is just mediation without settlement, yeah, or with settlement. Why it is so that? Because people sat together at the table after the long time. Right. They were there at least 5 hours. They exchanged a lot of views, thoughts, reasons. They heard each other. They made closer some distant opinions. They saw each other as humans, you know, not as enemies. And very often, even mediation without settlement will be finished very soon after that, in mediation or outside of the mediation. But I always call them after 2-3 weeks. Hi, Kaushaki, how are you today? Have you met your other side? Did you talk at all? What do you think? Could we try again?
Right.
And they are so happy if somebody think about them and try to help them again and nudge them and motivate to continue. Because, you know, it's not easy to have a conflict. It's a hard time for all of us. But I used to say that in spite of the fact that we humans are we have great ability to make conflicts, but we have even greater ability to make a peace.
Yes. Truly said, sir. Sir, as you have told us that emotional challenges are being also taken care during the mediation process by the mediator, by the two parties, and there are some fixed rules that you don't have to use the bad words. One party should be angry at time, and all these things. So, like, are there more things which can be taken care during the mediation program when their dispute is getting resolved? Where the emotional challenges are being faced by both the parties, both are on the emotional grounds. So, what steps can be taken ahead more to keep these things in mind? Like the more resolution can become, like the problem can be
Okay,
solved.
okay, very good question. So, this is a kind of craft, it is experience, it is knowledge, it is a practice. So with some more years on shoulders, everything become easier, But even in your age or even younger, with getting new skills and new knowledge, you can be much better in all your relation, in your conflicts, and especially in conflicts with you, because we cannot change others and we cannot change behavior of others. We cannot control them, but only what we can is control our reaction. So
Right.
it is natural, and we need to make possible in our societies that we do not that we start to look at conflicts not only as a negative, or a problem.
Right.
The problem could be only our reaction to the conflict,
Conflict.
But if we are aware about what is conflict, what caused the conflict, and how we react and how the other side react, and that is what we learn in mediation trainings, it becomes everything easier. So when people are coming in mediation, I know that they are under the negative emotions, and they suffered a lot, misbehaving to each other, and they are afraid. They are afraid to sit at the table with the other side, who is stubborn, who is not a human, who is my enemy, and everything what I did with him or her didn't succeed. So they very often ask themselves, I did everything what I knew, but nothing happened, and why
Nothing
I
happened.
would go to mediation right now? But they're not coming to me because I am better of them, but because I am the one who is neutral, who has new sight, new mind, new ears, which is totally disinterested for the dispute, and I can see their dispute much more objective than them, and I help them a lot in transforming their views about their conflict. So I always tell them, it is hard. This is a hard time for you. Today, I know you feel anxious and scared, but don't be such. It is okay to feel like that. Emotions in this room is welcome. So you can cry, you can raise the voice, you can, I don't know, but I'm here. I'm trying to tell you that is something what is going to happen, probably. But please try to think that such a behavior cannot help us, cannot help you. And try to stay calm and to control your behavior when you hear something you disagree. But if you do not be able to do it, no matter, don't worry, I'm here for you to tell you that this kind of behavior doesn't help. And why it is so easy for them to accept that, because at the beginning I suggest them that they accept own rules. So when people accept own rules, like I'm not going to raise the voice, I'm not going to use the words which can help.
Hurt the other person.
I don't want to offend the other side. I don't want to anything what is not helpful. They say, I always ask, do you agree with these simple rules? We agree. And when and I always said them in advance, if you forget that rules, I will remind you at the right moment. And whenever they lose maybe a temper during mediation, I just say, Kaushaki, what we have agreed at the beginning. Oh yes, Mr. Simac, I know, yes. So, it is so easy to follow the rules when you are voluntarily accepted, And that's the way how we deal with it. When the emotions, it's very rarely, but when they erupted, we say just time out. This is the right time to make a pause and to cool off, cool off period, We have lost control, and you will see after 30 minutes, we will be quite new and refreshed to continue. In the regular and direct negotiation, you can't have anybody who will say, stop right now, time out. It is not helpful, but they just make a flame and they leave the table forever. But mediator make them happen to stay at the table and in the room, Because if you had dispute 3, 5, 10, even 16 years, I had one, you cannot solve it within 5 minutes. But usually you can solve it after 5 or 6 hours or more, So it is not believable until you experience that.
Right, you said, sir. So, last question here we have for you today is, how can a person be a mediator for himself, before coming to the table of conflict and managing the things by the third party? How can a person take steps, small steps in his life or in her life, so that these disputes doesn't happen and the world the peaceful world we face forever? So what can be
very good? Yes. So all what we learn in mediation training is something we all need in our lives first. So even it seems not easy, it is easy, So what we have learned in school, what we have learned from our parents, from our families, what are the values of our societies? What the religions teach us how to behave with others. So if you decide to be kind to everybody in every moment, if you behave to them in the way you want they behave to you, you cannot make a mistake. Just be human first and then professional You know, professional can help, but not too much when relation is broken. Then our humanity come up, and whenever you introduce humanity in conflict, conflict disappeared, you know. So
Right.
I posted today one post on LinkedIn which said something like, whenever you are in doubt to be right or to be kind, choose to be kind, and then you will be always right. You know, you
Truly said.
cannot
Right.
make mistake with kindness. And usually in our
Exactly.
lives, there is no many situations that we need real to fight to each other. And different opinions is not fighting. Different opinions are just expression of our individuality, our uniqueness, our richness as a persons, and there is expression. If two person thinks always in the same way, both are useless, you know.
Right.
So because we are different, it is we are rich about it, you know. So the idea is that we have to be open and to get out from our minds, our brain box, and to not see the world and to not be a measure for all others in the world, but just be a part of them. And instead of looking at everything from our perspective, go to find and understand the perspective of others. We can learn a lot with that, and we can have amazing relationships.
Yes, sir. Truly said that we have to respect each other' perspective and way of thinking, and we have to be kind to keep the world without dispute and everything. So very rightly said, sir. And thank you for your precious time today. It was a pleasure to have you on our show. Hashtag Innovative India Movement and All India Council of Human Rights, Liberties and Social Justice and National Council News and Broadcasting. Thank you so much for for being here. So one last thing, if any person who is in frame of mediation, who needs your help, so if they can approach you, what are your links? What are your social media links? How can they approach you for
So
free advice if you do that?
So you can always find me on LinkedIn, even on Facebook, but my main social media is LinkedIn. I like very much. And be welcome.
Thank you, sir.
And
Thank you.
thank you very much, Kaushaki, for having me and inviting me, and it was my pleasure.
Same here, sir. Namaste from India. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
Bye.
Bye, sir. Bye.